is up, everyone? We are back with Casters on the Block. Snivy is here, but he handed off the intro to me.
Penis.
And Guinness here for some reason. We have a really scuffed setup over there. We were just trying to, we're trying to gentrify the Casters on the Block.
They had to replace Ritual, so of course they got another queer coming in for Pride Month next week.
If we didn't,
Shut up, you pronoun.
Oh my god.
I'm not even trans.
That's
I'm just
crazy.
bi.
You still have pronouns.
Of course I do.
So does
because
everyone.
I'm a normal human being.
Alright,
Oh
finish
my
the intro.
God. Alright, so we're here. We're talking about video games, most importantly the video game called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I am the Waffleman SR, and I am here with Syndicate Snivy. Would you like to introduce yourself?
No, I wouldn't. How you doing, Gerd?
Alright, moving on.
Fuck you, Waffle High-End.
Fuck
Hey,
me,
sup,
what did
cutie?
I do?
Oh, hold up. You
guy's
want
an
to talk
Azumarill
about
player.
what you did? Let's
Yes!
talk, Holmes.
Let's
West
talk
Coast
about
is
it.
trash. West
Yes!
Coast commentary. Last time I checked, we got Bam, Charles, EE, Jet the Jenga God, Arbiter, Wolf Scratch. Shut your mouth.
Congrats.
Oh my gosh.
But
Congrats.
speaking of West Coast events, it's certainly popping over there, and there's definitely going to be a lot going down this summer. We already have a lot going down this weekend. By the way, hello. My name's Syndicate Snivy, or Antonio. You already know.
You didn't want to
but-
introduce yourself. You don't get that. You
No,
don't
no,
get,
no.
You don't get to do
Well,
that. You didn't
one
want
of the
it.
events
Hey, he
being
wants to do it
Gateway.
now.
One of the events being Gateway Legends already had.
Whoa.
Ritual already being there, casting the event along
Riztual.
with Fabs. Yes,
Her full
Riztual.
government name.
You can
That's
add
the
in the
go.
Riz sound effect and everything. I will probably send it to you
what's
later.
the Riz sound effect?
I don't know how to
Wait.
describe it.
There's a sound effect. Is it not just like
What?
bacon
You need to
sizzling?
find
will
this and
find
send
it.
it to me.
I will
And-
find it.
And I will put a little
I'm
voice
pretty
note
sure
saying if this is-
Snivy's on something. Like,
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
that is not
there
a
it
Riz
thing.
is.
isn't a sound effect. It's not like you start rizzing somebody up and they start moaning or something.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
you
just
use
like
the
a-
the Riz sound effect's like a
That's
power
the
that you
most
have.
Rizzless sound effect I've ever heard come out of somebody's mouth. You were just, yeah, it's the Riz sound effect.
I have to find it. I don't know where it is.
The Riz sound effects, it's on your phone. You press play, and it's like any girl in like a mile radius. It's just like it's just like coming towards you.
Who said Snivy was looking for them women? He's prepping for Pride Month, dog.
Or the men.
I'm looking
Sorry.
for nobody. I'm looking for common riders in my area.
Hey, you're looking for a nobody? We got Waffle here for you. Woo!
Yeah. Woo.
They're gonna make a Kingdom Hearts reference. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So, speaking
but yeah.
of Gateway Legends, does anyone know anyone entering this event? Because I for sure don't.
Oh, they had quite a bit of DQs that I think brought it down to a B plus tier, if I'm not mistaken.
You're thinking
That was
MomoCon.
Was that MomoCon? I think it was both events actually.
No, Gateway was already only a B tier.
Okay.
Imagine being a B tier major. Oh, Megalon.
That's not a major.
Low Tide City.
What's the? I don't get what the major. It's not a major.
A tier is major.
So
B tier
so you're
is
telling-
national.
Okay, so there was that one like A tier like one day event.
B
Does
tier
that
has
count as a major?
What? I'm sorry. Say that again.
There was that one A tier regional event, or was supposed to be, but then Tweak dropped. Like, would that have counted as a major?
I
As a
think it
one-day
would have,
event.
because I know a Tweak dropped from MomoCon. That's what
I hate
Yeah,
that we
right.
just allow alt rank to decide what our majors are.
I don't like. I
Hold up.
hate that
It
too.
is
I
a
really do.
Hold up. Chill. It's algorithmic based, and honestly, the algorithm makes sense. They have it all public. You could go look at it.
I think we could be able to be called, oh, this is an A tier event, but also a B tier, B plus tier could also be a major. I think those
No.
aren't mutually
Yeah,
No.
isn't that
No,
what
there
we
needs
did
to
in
be
the
a
past
cutoff.
though? We like advertise, these events is like, oh, these are 3-day majors.
Well,
this
here's
is a
the
major.
thing. Here's the
simply.
thing. The advertising still goes off for them, right? Because like Gateway Legends was advertised as a major, and so they still got the entrance that they needed to make it a successful event and everything. Like they have Mutace, AK, Onin, Zomba, Lima, Sen. This might actually be a major. I think you guys are capping on it only being B tier.
Yeah,
but
that's what I
like.
was saying.
Last time I
about
checked, it
MomoCon?
was like.
Let me
Like
check
I
out
think a
MomoCon.
good example is Major Upset, where Major Upset was going to be a super major, and then week of and like week and a half before, there were a bunch of dropouts, and so it dropped down to only a major. But that doesn't take away their sponsorship money. It doesn't take away their viewership, the attendees. So like they still get all the benefits of advertising as a super major, while for like, because the whole point of it being important of to whether or not it's a super major or a major after the fact and during the tournament is for ranking. So if Ult Rank is the go-to ranking, it makes sense why they decide that.
I think it's okay to to use alt rank as a form to decide which majors are super majors, but I think like if a 3-day event like I don't know like doesn't get enough entrants, or like not every top player is going and it gets like a B+ tier, I don't think that's like means to like demote it to a non-major, you know what I mean?
That's a non-major right there though. Like that's the whole point. There needs to be difference between that. Like if you don't have a high number, like for example, Summit is a low amount of attendees, so it's not a super major because it's only the 16 people, but the point value is so astronomically high because of who gets brought out that it makes it a major. Like here, if you look at player values, okay, because they have their sheet public as to what players are worth value wise. Leo to Shootone, so the top 5 are all worth 350 points for an event, okay? And then for what defines a major versus a national, the major cutoff is at 3,000 points, okay? So like you have to have a big number of points to hit a major. Summit 6 had enough to be worth a A+ tier event. Like that's an important distinction to have on what is a major versus a national. And nobody, like if you keep bringing the bar down, people are going to keep complaining and bring the bar down lower. Like, I'm sorry, it's numbers. It's not about your feelings.
I see.
I feel like we have
Given B+ tiers are considered, they aren't considered national. They're nationals. They're considered sub majors. So like they're just like right.
Sub-majors.
Yeah.
Sub majors.
That's just
And then you have
A little baby
like,
major.
yeah, then you have super regionals, aka nationals. So like both Momocon and Gateway Legends are sub majors. Which, by the way, Gateway, if they have a single player, like single top level player drop, they're only a national. They're barely at 2015 points.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the Ult Rank, and they are B+. I think you pulled it up as well, right? On the side?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, yeah. We were looking at the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, I'm just saying, hey, check it out. The all these majors recently, dropping only to A, or in the case of Momocon, dropping to sub major. There is one coming up that's an S tier. Hey, baby.
Ayo.
That's crazy. It's
Solidly
gonna be
S tier, too.
Shine.
So before
And it rhymes with brown.
It does rhyme with brown.
So before we move on to a cringe tournament series, let's
Oh, shut your mouth.
Our sub national our sub regional sub fucking major.
Oh, he is chopping out.
Waffle's turning into a
Gateway
robot
Legends.
right now.
I'm
We
turning
got
into a robot.
the robot man on the mic.
Hey, he's back.
So
Worst
let's
part
talk
is,
about-
hold up. I want to bring out the worst part of Waffle recording his audio and then him being the one with choppy internet. All the people on YouTube are going to think we're full of ourselves because we're saying like,
think it's-
oh, he's going choppy. It's his internet connection is garbage. All right.
I think it's
I
like
don't
the
know why
Discord
my
at times
internet
too.
Connection is garbage. I think it's my computer. I think my computer's just like.
You haven't been giving it enough love.
Yeah, probably.
Do you have your little
it's
LAN
coming-
cable tucked in?
It's coming close to the time a year where I clean it, and I think that's where it's what's happening to it. I have a LAN adapter, like a fucking switch.
That doesn't
Anyways,
solve all your problems in the
I
world.
know, but
Just because you're connected to LAN doesn't mean you pay enough money for good Wi-Fi.
Don't worry, as long as you're close to the router,
God.
it'll work.
speedtest.net. Oh my god, fuck you guys! I'm doing a speed test.
Alright, we're gonna do a live
test
speed
live.
test.
Why-
While Waffle
alright,
does the
I just
speed
wanted
test.
Okay, I have 700 megabytes.
Milligrams?
Is that download or upload?
I work in fucking pharmacy. Everything is
Waffles.
millis to me.
Is that download or upload?
It's download, and I'm getting to upload in a second. Upload. Oh, upload's not strong, but it's still like 20.
Yeah, that's what I
20.
thought.
20's not bad. 20. Should
Yeah,
be
but
enough
you're
to
also like
stream my
you're
stream.
also doing so much between so many different things. All right, so chill.
True. I don't
Alright.
know why I can't get better upload speed. Maybe I should.
I'm with you there. I need to figure out that problem myself.
Bro,
I
I
like
came
set-
on to I came on today. I'm like, I'm not gonna be a hater, and I'm starting off hating all the. Oh my gosh.
Just why would you hold back what you really are? You know
A
what I'm
hater.
saying?
Honestly, I used
If
to
you're
not be a
You,
hater.
you have to be a hater and just go with it.
The crazy thing is, once upon a time, I wasn't a hater.
What happened?
What happened is Oa. I will totally throw him under the bus. I've been realizing this the past couple of months. Okay, so the person I normally travel to events to is Oa Von Bismarck on Twitter. He barely turned 18, and man, he's a dick. I love him. He is a dick. He knows this. But like, it's the teenage mentality of I'm gonna trash talk you and everybody else as a joke, and this has turned me into a hater because I'm like. I'm already a very like analytical person where I'm like thinking about the like as I said, numbers don't care about your feelings. I'm sorry, if your performance is worse, then it's just worse. Hey, like hold that, right? Like it's okay in my mind. It's okay to recognize you have issues or problems and still understand you aren't like worse of a person for that, and it doesn't mean you're bad at something. But then you throw in the fact that like, oh, like I used to not criticize things that often. I was like, I don't care about what everybody else is doing. I'm just focusing on me. And then Oa comes in and he's trash talking everybody. And so I start doing it. And now I'm just looking at ways to like demean people and hate. So, you know, I got to work on that.
Don't worry. You gotta. There's an art to bringing the hate onto the mic and just everywhere you go. I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
I do think it's very funny that hate won out in that in that interaction. It's like, oh, you
Hate-
were hanging
hate-
out with him,
hate wins.
and like hate won. Like he didn't become good because I was good. No, I became bad because he was evil. I think that's very funny.
Fucking crazy.
Hey, look, I'm good at hating. I'm very good at hating is what I've
You're
learned.
very good at it. I'll say that. Like you're
Yeah.
always ready. You're always ready at a
That's the
moment's
thing.
notice.
Okay, the other thing is like I was the trash talker on the schoolyard, and so like I already know how to be a dick, and so like now it's just like I've pulled that demon out of me, and the monster's just ready to feast on everybody around me. You know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's okay, Waffles. You wouldn't get
And I'm
it.
like, no.
All right, no, sir, you lost me.
I
No,
got the
sir.
hater. I got the hater gene. I just don't have.
You don't have the hater gene. You would
I
understand
haven't,
if you
I
had the
haven't
hater gene.
harnessed it.
You
No, I
don't.
haven't
You
harnessed
don't.
it.
You don't have it.
But-
Shut up. You're lying.
All right,
Maybe I've just
Fellas?
maybe I've repressed it. You know.
fellas, it's time to knock out this intro that we've been on for 15 minutes.
Gateway Legends Ritual Cast or Ritual SSB as it says on the screen is commentating that tournament. Whoa!
Ooh, they're commentating
Wow.
right now,
I'm
but you
gonna
won't even
be-
see it.
I'm gonna be
True,
honest.
they're
I don't
commentating
give a
with
shit
Fabs.
about the tournament otherwise. Everything else
It's actually
doesn't
a
matter to
lovely.
me.
It's a lovely venue too. What's also
actually-
happening this weekend
it's got, like,
is
some really
Combo
good
Breaker,
entrants.
one of the most prestigious FGC events in the country, basically Evo 2. It also happens to have Smash as well. We have DeBuzz, ESAM, Frostbite, Kovi, MVD, a few other people in attendance. And then on the flip side of that, we have MomoCon happening in, I believe, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that has. Well, unfortunately, Tweak
That one
was
has a light.
there, and I
Tweak
think
and Meister
Sonics,
were there, and then they dropped out.
and I think Sonics is making it or wasn't able to make it.
No, Sonics is still making it, as far as I was aware.
let's
You're
go.
thinking of
Sonics can make
Keep
it to
Chill.
Boxy.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, he couldn't make it to Bobsy, but then I think you're thinking about Keep It Chill, possibly. So Keep It Chill was just meant to be like,
I was thinking
like
of BOBC. That's what I was thinking.
monthly. Well, maybe. I just know SkyJ was also unable to, or not SkyJ, Big Boss. Big Boss got stuck in Canada.
Of. Yeah, Ro lost his passport. That's tough.
Yikes. But yeah,
It's
no,
literally a
so
nightmare.
he was going to go West Coast is pretty quiet this weekend. But Keep It Chill is a C tier event. I don't know what that means. Oh, it's regional. Just a regional.
Yeah. Now I'm excited for MomoCon because there's one player I see amongst this list that got top 8 at KawaiiCon. And that's Banned Anime. My fucking goat Robin.
Oh, the Robin that got top 4 at KawaiiCon.
Mm-hmm. And of course you have all the Georgie attendees or Georgia.
I love how bro's excited for
and
Robin.
WebJP is gonna be there as well, so I'm very excited to see him make some
WebJP's
waves.
hype.
And
Web-
potentially
WebJP.
upset a lot of people. I think he got a forfeit the 404 local the other night.
Where is WebJP seated?
Um,
Into Fatality? That could be a W. Into Light. Ugh.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he can take Fatality. Light is rough though.
Light is kind of like he just like doesn't lose to people outside of like top 100.
Even then, he doesn't like lose to anybody
pretty
outside of like top
crazy.
50.
Yeah, but like he'll sometimes lose to people outside top 100, but that's like
That's
the
only right
minimum
now because
requirement.
bro has been like taking that break.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
excited
what
for-
was his worst loss.
His worst
of
loss
recently.
is probably Ling, who is like 95 right now.
Or that Bowser Jr. at that one MSM.
Both
When
of
was
those
that?
were over a year
That was a
ago.
long
MSM was
time
2
ago.
years ago.
Ling's loss was probably not.
It was
too
about a
long
year
recently.
ago.
It was probably about a year ago. Yeah.
Okay, he actually almost did lose to Hat.
Almost
ones
doesn't
remember.
count.
Oh
Real
my
ones
god,
remember him?
I do. But he was playing Sora. That wasn't that.
No, he
Sora
wasn't.
bracket?
He was
It
not.
wasn't?
Not the Mickey Mouse.
Actually, no. You know what his worst loss is? It's Antimony. Lost to
Antimony's
Antimony at the
raw, though.
Shine pre-local.
Oh shit.
If we're going off recent history, it might just be D-Dog, which is such a like wild thing to say that might be his worst loss.
D-Dog's
Yeah.
who's like what 34 or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea what
Oh,
rank
he
D-Dog
he
is.
did
I
lose
just know
to
that kid is
Antimony
correct.
twice before Shine. Yeah, that was the Shine pre-local. But I don't see why he wouldn't just be using Sora there, right? I didn't watch the tournament, so he might have just been using Sora. He did lose to Aaron, like that at PAX West,
That was
and that was
also
September.
a long time ago.
Yeah, that was September.
Oh
So
my
it's been
God.
9 months.
And that's also a top 100 player.
Combo Breaker just dropped their casting list, and they have over 70 casters on this list.
Huh? Wait.
That's
For every event.
What?
It's for
or
all the
around
events.
70
It's for
casters.
all the
It's
events.
for all the events. All
Okay.
the
Yeah,
events. All
you-
together.
you
All
did the most
together.
because
They've
misleading
got like
thing
14
on the
different
planet.
events.
It's Combo Breaker. People know who I'm talking about. Talk about FGC and Smash and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, but this is a Smash podcast.
No, the fuck
Yeah.
it isn't. This is a
Yeah, it
commentary
is.
podcast. We just talk about Smash a lot.
Yeah, because all of us are
Because that's like our main
Smashcasters.
game.
Let's talk about Pokemon. Yes.
Yeah, we do
Yes!
actually.
Oh
This
my
is actually a
gosh,
Pokemon
are we ready
podcast
for the
too.
Pokemon episode?
Let's go.
Actually, wait a minute, Gerd. There is something you could talk about.
I
here.
love Pokemon,
I know.
but I don't compete.
There was an organization looking to partner up with a lot of VGC locals to help them out recently in terms of like casting and then money as well. If I'm not wrong.
The Wide League?
Yes.
Are you talking about that? Yeah. So, I asked the casting director of that like group, to ask if like, hey, I could cast, and they had put out an initial tweet, and I'm like, oh, I might as well shoot my shot. Maybe they're doing this for interactions. I'm like, I'll just put my resume in. Maybe I can go into a few Discords, say, hey, can someone vouch for me? I ratioed that tweet by
Oh
10
my
likes.
god.
I had
That's
40 likes,
fire.
40 likes, like 10 replies, and a few quote retweets of people vouching for me. And we had 40 likes compared to 30 on the main account. I'm like, what the fuck? So I was supposed to do it this weekend, but I have an ulterior commitment to doing Comedy Club, the Massachusetts Invitational. This weekend. I have 2 blocks. I can talk more about that later. And I'm getting paid for that. So next
Okay.
Pokemon event they run, I'm going in there because I think I'm better than a lot of people in there. So
Ooh,
and
talk
the guy,
Gerd. Talk
the
your
casting
talk.
director even said like you have a lot more experience than like some of the crew that we have. I'm like, damn, I'm just a Pokemon. I'm not even a Pokemon caster. I'm just like a Smash caster, and I have more experience.
Now, what's funny enough is I've been having this conversation recently, or like this idea lately, that like being a Smash caster or like casting FPS games is fucking broken, because due to the amount of knowledge we need with this game and like how fast it kind of goes, you really learns like the ins and outs of commentary between like the fast and slow, where to put your analysis and like interweave it with the play-by-play. Because with fighting games and like VGC, if anything, or like other types of commentary, sometimes it's at like a slower pace, so you really kind of just can have that time to like chill, lean back, and be like, oh, I know it's gonna happen, but I know how to set this up properly with my play-by-play. And
Like-
yeah.
First Smash, I don't have like a deep knowledge of the game. Like you asked me like specific interactions, I'm just like I could make shit up and I could totally be wrong. But VGC, I feel like I'm so in depth with like the game. I understand so many interactions where it's like, yeah, I could talk about an interaction and I'm like 99% sure I'm right. Like if I say anything about Smash, I feel like I'm gonna get roasted by like all the Twitch chat warriors saying like, oh,
I
it's
mean,
frame 3 instead of frame 4, you dumbass. That kind
I feel
of
like
thing.
that's just Ultimate. They could be melee heads too. I could be really wrong.
No, what do you mean that? Like people correcting or people getting things wrong?
Correcting
correct
and getting
on
things
you.
wrong.
Every community. That's
Every
fucking
community?
It's probably more common in melee because there's just more knowledge you need.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Melee,
like,
the casters know a lot more though.
they
Like,
do.
Yeah.
You-
I
you
feel
have
like
to think-
yeah, if you're trying to cast
Well,
melee, you kind of need to know
it's
a lot of it.
funny because a lot of the top commentators in that game were really good players when they were coming
Yeah.
up. Like
Yeah.
half of them were like top 100 at one point, which is like really crazy.
And a lot of
Well,
the
that-
like the big casters, they've been around for such a long time, so they just already know the game. Like I don't know how long Walt has been in the melee scene, but he's also been around for quite a while, so he's just amassed so much knowledge.
Yeah.
He's one of the more like newer, fresher commentators in the melee scene, but like Toph and Scar have literally been around for over a decade, and
Yeah.
they have so much knowledge.
I think
Waltz-
Scar is coming close to 2 decades, actually.
2
No
decades of
way.
melee
Yeah.
commentary.
They're just crazy.
Walt has
God
been around
fucking
for at
damn.
least half a decade. SSB Wiki has him at Big House 8, which was 2018. So.
Okay.
The difference between Melee and Ultimate, and why Ultimate, I think it's like a more common issue of like people complaining that so and so said this about my character's frame data and it was actually this, is because of the fact that Melee is a lot more general knowledge, right? Like it's not like wave dashing doesn't apply to every single character in that game. Meanwhile, Ultimate has 90 characters. And like that's why frame data is a no. Just don't say
I don't.
nobody is above this. No, I don't care how well studied you are. Just don't do it. All right.
It's
Every
not
one
that
of us goes through it. Every
It's not that
commentator goes
important.
through that phase too, where they're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say so and so has frame 3 on this, and it's like, it was frame 5 actually, and it's just not worth it.
It's only important in some instances,
It
but it's
would-
like
it
super
would-
niche.
No, it's never important. No, I will shut you down there. It is never that important. You can say
You should've been
generalized.
here when- You should have been here when I said this to Ritual last week. Fuck. Ugh. Or 2 weeks ago. I said the same exact shit. I was like,
Was
it's
she
not that
arguing it?
important. No, she was like, it's important in some
No.
spots, and I was like, no.
I am on the page of like in some spots because I know for a
No.
fucking fact.
No. And here's why. Here is why you're wrong, okay?
Debate
If
me
I
either.
say Game & Watch up B is frame 3 out of shield versus I say Game & Watch's up B is fast enough to punish people on shield. There is
Yes.
no difference in importance to that. The only
Exactly.
thing that's going to hurt you here is you said frame. If you commit to a frame and you are wrong by a single frame, you are getting people complaining and you are alienating those people who know better than you. It doesn't matter if
Alright,
if
you know
it's
what?
your
I'll
own
give that to
character
you.
even.
Like, even with my own character, I don't commit to frame data. Even though I study this game aggressively on frame data, even, like, I can tell you how fast Pika's up B is. I can tell you how fast his back air is. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to take that risk because even if you know it, you're still commentating, and so you still have the pressure of analyzing the set, and you might just slip up and say it wrong. And it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You can just literally, you can use general phrasing to your advantage.
Well, and like if you talk to any top level caster, they will tell you the exact same thing. Any high, any top, any high mid, like all of anybody who has been commentating a couple of majors or like super majors or whatever will tell you that. I've talked to Skiff, I've talked a bit to Jet, Wolf, Hazmat was telling me that, like, literally every single one of them will tell you this.
Alright, if Hazmat's saying that, then I know it's the truth. I know it's the
Well,
truth.
you don't want to believe Yin?
I know. I said I agree with Yin on the first instance, where like the generalizations, like,
everyone's-
okay, yeah,
I'm-
when you phrase it
I'm-
like that, then yeah.
Look, Hazmat is my favorite commentator too. We need to stop simping for him.
Az isn't my favorite, but
I
he's my
don't.
top
I don't
three.
simp for shit.
I don't know. You were just like, Yin said like 5 or 6 top commentators, and you were like, Has?
True.
Has said it?
True.
Yeah, because Hazmat's a really good commentator.
All of them are.
So, is this shot? That's shots at everybody else? That's crazy.
Are you saying that
crazy.
casters who have commentated top 8s of majors and super majors aren't good enough for you? Because I said Skip, Jet, and Wolf Scratch, who have all commentated top 8s of majors and top 8s of super majors.
Sorry, don't care about that pronoun, Wolf Scratch. My God, my God.
Hey, last time I checked Syndicate, you have pronouns, dog.
I love that guy.
Little Mr. He, him.
Hey, Garrett, if you wanted to take a vote on just kicking Snivy off the podcast right now,
Hey, I'll take a spot.
hey,
That's crazy. I have the same mentality as Gerd. The I am him mentality, bro. I'm literally my own goat.
Yeah, you're full of
true.
yourself.
I'm no longer in my ego era, but when I was in my ego era, I was thinking the same shit.
How'd you
think
get
it's important.
humbled, Waffle?
How did I get humbled? I just decided ego death is important.
It is very important, honestly.
Okay.
It's very important for the self progression of oneself.
It's okay to think highly of yourself, but it needs to be in check, right? Like, if I'm talking about myself as a commentator, right? Like, if I am being honest about where I think I am a pretty strong commentator. I think there's a lot of stuff I need to work on, and I'm still gonna, like, if I'm placing myself, I'm gonna still be putting myself like below like Jet or Wolf Scratch, right? These goats on the West Coast. Even though I still think I'm a very good commentator, it's an understanding of like you are good in certain aspects, but you still have that growth to go through, right? But it's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
I agree. I used to be very arrogant as a person, but then I realized that's bad, and then I just became unconfident in myself, and I'm like, that's bad, and I'm like, then I tried to become confident and become arrogant again.
Unconfidence is like the it's the worst fucking feeling. I just have Marvin's Room playing in my head like 24/7,
That's crazy.
and I'm in like Super Doomer 64 mode.
I love that song. I wish that song was playing in my head 24/7.
Marvin's
Great
Room.
song. Yeah, great song. I love that
I'm
song.
just saying, that song is so real though. I'm just
I
saying, I can do better.
That song hypes me up. I'm like, yeah. It's a hype up song.
Yeah, every time I get in my bag about commentary or like I just have like a terrible block, I like go like very depressive mode or like
You should.
my quote unquote depressive mode is my fucking full on self analysis mode of like what went wrong, like how did this happen? Because I usually put the blame mostly on myself, which I know is not the best thing to do in the world, but it helps me in a lot of cases. Like, oh, maybe this didn't go well because I didn't make my co-commentator feel comfortable, or I didn't set them up properly. Like, you see what I'm saying here? The picture?
That's not things to beat up on yourself, though, right? Like, that's all. Okay, this is the issue I have with you people in Smash, whether it's commentating or playing the game. All right? Every single person on Twitter, every 5 seconds is like, man, I didn't play to my best. And
You're
Who
not supposed to.
cares?
That's light every time he fucking wins a tournament.
Dude, light is all okay. Light's a different story, right? Like, Light is using it. Light uses it in the right way. He just airs it out on Twitter, where it's like, man, I could have played better. I'm gonna keep grinding. Every person on Twitter is like, well, I lost to so and so who's around my level. Shut up.
Literally.
I'm sorry.
Literally
Look,
no.
I love you. Smash doesn't matter that much. All right? Like, enjoy the game. And if you mess up, you have things to learn. It's the same on comms, right? Like, if I'm out here and I'm not remembering to, one of the things I've been working on lately is saying my co-caster's name when I'm like getting ready to pass, like around the time I pass off. If I forget to do that, I'm not going to get mad at myself. It's like, dang, I could have done better. Let's focus on it for next time. And it's just setting aside specific things that you did wrong to work on later. That's the mentality you got to have.
Agreed. And that's just like a life lesson. You just don't get mad at yourself for making mistakes because we're human.
That
That's
is
just
like
a life lesson.
That's
so
people
toxic
think
to myself, bro.
People think I'm actually a psychopath because they'll just like make mistakes and laugh at myself, and they're like, "Why are you
Bro,
laughing at yourself?"
your
And I'm like,
headshot makes
"It's-"
you look
I
like a
was
psychopath.
I'm like, it's hilarious. What do you mean? I'm like,
one
it's
waffles, you're correct. But also that headshot do make you look like a psychopath.
You look like you just got fucking like you're taking a picture at like a hockey rink or something, and it's like nighttime, and you just light up the flash and everything.
the cool part of
Yeah,
the
you
picture
didn't
is
even
that
get
my-
the right angle.
First of all, the cool part of the picture is that my fucking cat is slapping me in the face. That's why the picture's cool.
I
but
don't
it's
even
edited
see the
out
cat
there.
because
Well, okay.
you should leave it in. You should leave it in. Leave
You
the
know
cat
what?
in.
I literally was mad about this when she made the fucking things, and I was like, well, that's like,
Ritual.
and I was mad about that, but no one listened to me because that my feelings don't matter. Anyways,
Listen, your feelings matter here.
Let's talk about how people prep for a commentator bracket because
Actually,
that's what
hold up.
Yin wanted to talk
I wanna
about,
say- I
and
wanna- I
Yin
wanna
doesn't
talk
want to
about-
talk about it now because I'm trying to give a structure.
Wait. I had one small thing that I wanted to ask because I want to know I'm not alone in this, okay? Now, before I got into the Smash scene, I was a viewer. I was more spectator than competitor before like I really got bigger into the Smash scene. And so like I like, even though I know they're just people, it's still like, man, this is one of the, like, I love this guy. I love watching this guy, right? And so even when I nerd out a lot. When I am at an event, I have at this point made it so I keep buying these kinds of cards and just having players and commentators sign them at every event I go to.
That's dope. What
I
the
just
hell?
want to know I'm not the only one who like gets starstruck when seeing like people that are like starting to like, okay, I've commentated multiple majors, commentating a super major, right? There are casters that I meet that I'm like, you're one of my goats, and it's like, dang dog, I already knew your name, and I'm like, oh bro, Arbiter, my guy. Like stuff like that where it's like so and so like kind of knows who I am. And it's like at the point where I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, yeah, these are just, I'm on that level with them, but I'm still starstruck by them. Is that just me, or I just want to know I'm not alone on that one?
I don't get starstruck by anyone because I don't care about people.
Well, kill yourself.
That's such a depressing answer. Oh my
That's
god.
depressing.
No, that's- I get what he's saying.
Idolize, like people. Like
Now you see, I guess like at first for me, like it was like that when I was commentating. It's like, oh my god, I'm commentating fucking X and X player. This is gonna be so awesome. I watch them all the time, or it's like, oh my god, I'm getting to commentate with like this person.
Yeah.
I fucking love their commentary, dude. And now like the rose tinted glasses have kind of weared off for me a bit because I just casually go up to like people like fucking like Lyric and like, yo, what's up, Lyric? Like
Yeah,
I
see,
know them, like they're
I'm
my
still in that
acquaintance.
phase. I haven't got into the like. Some of them I have like Send. I don't get. I like Gibbon. Dude's the goat, right? Like he's absolutely phenomenal. I'm not starstruck by him. Luis, kind of a little still.
Louis Money.
Yeah, Louis Money comes out enough to Utah and to the same events that I do. So like it started to wear off. Plus he's like a big homie in person. Like shout outs to Luis. Luis is one of the funnest top players to talk to. So like I'm starting to get to that point, but I'm still definitely in like bro, that's the buzz? Yo, like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I get you. How you feel? What's your stance in this gird now?
I mean, I've lived in the same region with Mars and Light when Mars was at his peak, like 2019, and like.
Are
when
you saying he fell
starting
off?
to drop off in 2021? What?
You saying he's washed?
Yeah, dude's washed as fuck.
I know he is.
I'll say it.
It's just funny to mess with you about it.
He's washed as fuck, and he's going to
Fell
my
off.
tournament in 2 weeks, and he's gonna clear everyone.
I think that's an unfair assessment of what he is. I think
He's washed.
focused. He's focused.
He's
on different things.
washed.
That still means he got worse. He knows it.
that
He
doesn't
calls
mean he's
himself
washed.
washed. Yes, he
He
is.
can still beat people, but he's
Dude,
not.
I'm
he's
sorry.
not top
He's a
5
di-
anymore.
I think there's a better description.
Bro's
of it,
not
but I
even
think-
top
He fell
20
off.
anymore.
Fine, he fell off. He fell off.
Yeah, I think fell off.
That's still
No, I think
washed.
fell
I'm
off's
sorry.
worse.
You go
I
from
think
being
fell off is worse.
no. Either way,
What do you want me to
he
say? He's
is
not as
both.
good as he
He
was.
shifted
Trying to
priorities.
sugarcoat
No.
it.
I don't care. He's
Yes.
worse at the game, which means he fell off.
love
He's washed.
Sugar.
I love Mars. That's one of my favorite players to watch. I love when Mars is winning. But bro isn't even top 20 anymore. Compared to where he used to be like, oh, he might be top 1 in a year.
I
Like,
think Wash
that's
implies
washed.
that. I think Wash implies that he's trying to compete and he's taking competing seriously, and he just can't do it. And he's
There are
washed.
no. There are times where he tries. You can't lie to me and tell
I mean,
me
he
that
tries.
dog
I'm not,
ain't
but he
in
doesn't-
him.
But he, I'm not. But he doesn't probably practice.
Did you see him at Genesis? I don't care.
He
that means
played
you're
well.
washed.
He played
just
well.
Yeah, I
there.
know, but that's the
Genesis.
point. That's my point. Is he clearly still cares about it, and he clearly still tries, but he doesn't try enough, and so he fell off, and he's washed. That's just how it works.
I don't agree with the fact that he cares. He said multiple times. he doesn't
Waffle,
really
kill
care about
yourself.
competition.
He actually has said a lot of times that he really doesn't care.
He's
mostly
focused on content.
he's very content with making content now.
I don't care.
Gameplay
He's
with
washed.
man.
Going back before Waffle was like, oh, he can't beat the washed allegations. Yeah, I've lived in the same region as Mars and Light, and I see them. I'm like, yeah, they're just two dudes. Like,
Yeah.
Dudes.
I was like a big Cosmos fan in Smash 4. I played against him in a DVFC bracket at Shine. I'm like, holy shit, I have to play Cosmos. And then he went to PAX East Arena, and he was like I think he was the second seat behind the Buzz. And I'm just like, yeah, he's just another dude. He's just trying to get his bag and then fly out to Summit. So I'm like, if you're a top player, I'm like, sure, okay. Unless you're like a big ass caster, then like I'm not starstruck by top players.
Yeah.
Like top
Who are you
players
starstruck
mean
by
nothing to
then?
me. What?
Give me a caster you're starstruck. You would be starstruck by.
Tony,
Amazon.
EE.
Aaron Cyberjohn Zhang.
Oh,
That's my fucking
Yeah,
goat. That's my
yeah.
fucking goat.
I'm so sorry.
this guy-
I literally saw Coney at fucking Xanadu 300.
Coney is
and I
just
was like,
the dad.
I was like, oh my god, it's Coney. That's it.
I think the only person I would be starstruck by is Josh, man.
Oh
Okay.
fuck,
Right.
Josh man.
I'm always in his stream. He's just so funny, man. He's
Let's
just
see.
hilarious.
At this point, I wouldn't be that okay. I've met Coney and EE, so I'm a lot less starstruck by them because like they're just homies. They are such homies, right? Like if you have got into chat with them, they are so like given like there's moments where they want to do their thing, but when they're in that vibe, they're such big homies to the people.
Yeah. At this point, it's more of like I just want to talk to them, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Wanna
Like I
have
want
a
to hang
cool
with
ass,
you. I want to
nice
learn
ass
about you.
conversation.
Yeah. Anyways, preparing for an event, you know.
So I'll start. I prepare for an event by seeing who's the bracket and seeing, oh, do I know that player? And then if I don't know them, I look them up. That's it.
That's all you do for prep.
That's all I do. I
You do
don't-
nothing.
Beautiful.
I don't do
I'm
anything.
clapping. I don't know if
That's
you
why
can
I
hear
want
love
to
you,
start.
Waffle. I
So
used to be
let's
you.
use-
I used to be you.
Let's use me as a bad example. Let's have some good examples. What do you got? What do you guys do? Let me.
Side note, let me make it clear. Hold up. Before I just like, because I know I'm kind of trashing Waffle for only doing that. You can do like if you really know your stuff and you're good at commentary, you can do that. That can work, and you can still do good on the mic. I still think like you could clearly do better, right?
Oh no, I agree, but I also just don't put that much effort into it. Words are hard. I want
Waffles
like
about
I
to
don't have enough
expose
time.
himself.
I don't have enough time, especially with this podcast. Like Fridays would be the day I would want to do it, but I'm here.
Why don't you do it at the event?
Because I don't know. I usually
Okay,
show
so
up
you're lazy.
early
Shut
and
up.
I'm like playing. I'm usually playing friendlies. I'm usually hanging out. I don't want to. Like half of me going to tournaments is to hang out. Like that's
Yeah,
like why
Waffle.
I do this.
I'm realizing how little of a commentator you are.
I'm not a real commentator. I just like hanging out.
I know
with
we've
homies.
talked about it before, but it's just funny to acknowledge.
I traveled to Bay State B-Town, a 2.5-hour drive, to go to a dock tournament, a dock only tournament, and I didn't even commentate because I just wanted to hang out with people, and that was what was important to me that day.
Corny.
And I beat him in a best of 5.
And he beat me in
based.
two
And in bracket.
and in bracket. So he beat
Hey, I
me
have
in
a
bracket
PR
in a
win.
dock ditto, and then in a best of 5. So
I guess I don't
I'm
technically have a
washed.
PR win. He was only honorable mention, but
Gerd, you beat me in Smash Ultimate, but I also finished higher than you at Hartford Regionals, so you can hold that L.
Yeah, no,
Please
you
and
got
thank
me
you.
there. You got me
Gerd
there.
would have stopped you. Gerd would have stopped you. All I'm saying.
I think my team kind of
Maybe.
clears him. So
No.
Anyways, Snivy, you or Gerd want to go next?
I'll let Guru go next.
we're still on the prepping.
Prepping, yeah.
So
Prepping.
I've got an invitational tomorrow, and I've done. I'm kind of like going ahead. When I was doing another regional with like 128 people, what I did was I was literally sitting down like in front of the commentary booth watching the stream, and I was online and I'm looking up set history between people of like projected matches for like my top 8 block where I do winners, semis, 2 of the losers like round 1 7th place matches, and like 1 of the winners quarters match. That was my block. So I literally look up, one of them was guaranteed, so like the A side of winner semis. I already was looking up that, trying to see, what the set history was recently. What is it all time? Was it, swift 2-0s, 3-0s? Was it close, 3-1s? What tournament was it at? Was it at a bigger regional? Was it just at a local? Like, I'm trying to figure out all that information because I'm trying to see if I can give more to the narrative of the tournament, because I feel like giving the narrative of like, oh, this guy's gotten 3-0'd by this other dude in the last 3 events they got to, maybe he can bring it around here, bigger event, maybe this guy's got a new main. I think that's more important. And then I had made other like notes the night before, and they got washed because someone made an upset and someone made another upset on another person. So I'm like, well, shit, now I have to do my research in real time, like 10 minutes before my block. I'm just like, God damn it.
I got a trick for you. We'll talk about it, but they're
Cool.
That's still like you can handle that. Trust.
Yeah.
Snivy, you wanna take it real fast before I go?
Yeah, I got you.
Because I can guarantee I do the most prep work.
You probably do, honestly. I do quite a bit myself. Usually I go to the locals, obviously in my area, because I commentate a lot of the regionals and monthlies in my area. But so I just watch like the locals throughout the week. I just take a lot of notes. I don't really take physical notes a lot of the time because I have a pretty good memory, so I just store the sets in my memory. Like I was watching Waypoint Warriors this week, and I was watching the most goated set between John Numbers and Bruno, another snake. I think BR1 AV. I think that's their tag.
Yeah.
But I will look up previous sets that they've done up in the past on YouTube if like I know what block that I'm doing. Usually I don't know what block I'm doing until like maybe the day before an event a lot of the time. But generally I have a good idea of what the PR players are, and if I don't know the PR players or anything, then I will look it up. Unfortunately, one time I got my research completely wrong, and I'm just like in shambles because I'm like, damn, I got the previous PR list and not the new one that just came out.
Yeah.
L for me that day. But
All right.
I'm trying to think, what else do I do?
Didn't
I-
Lyric do a? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was
No,
just-
you can say it. You can say it.
Didn't Lyric do a stream recently where she was prepping for a major? Or
Yes, it was Collision.
That's raw. That's raw. That would actually be such a sick
anyone-
stream to watch.
Did anyone watch that? 'Cause
I
was
did.
at work.
I didn't know about it.
I
Do
did not
you
watch
know what
it.
she did?
What
So
did she do?
I think she had a graphic of from somewhere of like the top seeds in each pool that she would be
The
responsible
Twitter
for.
graphic
So,
that
like,
goes off.
what?
The Twitter graphic that people post where it's like the seating or
Yeah, basically. So she would look up like each individual person of like the top seeds and then write down the character that they played, what region they're from, and then maybe if there were like other people. She would also just like look at the bracket itself outside of the graphic to see like, oh, there anyone that's not like a top seed in this pool? Like maybe she'll know them, like, oh, maybe from her own region or just like a random name from a different region she's heard of before that wasn't like seated high but could also like make a run. And she would just have like a physical not a notepad, but like a notebook of just like multiple pages on pages on pages of like different people, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I've
really
seen her
well
carry that
organized.
notebook quite a lot at majors. It usually has like players with how would the pools would play out and like, oh, did this person like beat this person? Did this person get upset? Then she would like cross X person out. She would have like their PR rank, notable wins, what region they're from, which is kind of like what
I want to
basically
adopt that.
I kind of stole that.
Yeah,
I stole
wow.
that a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. I'm about to steal that.
Shout
from
out
my
to
school.
Lyric.
I'm
There's a
taking
reason
that
why
for
she's
tomorrow's
doing so good.
Invitational for sure. Got to start doing that.
You know, Lyric's an
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal commentator, and it like her work definitely shows. I've never seen a set that she casted where she seemed to be out of her depth. Okay. Now, to preface this, I've got Crown next week, which is technically my first super major. Major Upset was going to be a super major, and then there was like Tweak, Sky J, MBD. There was like 5 top players that dropped last second. So
Tweak be dropping
Yeah.
a lot lately. Just saying.
Tweak's been doing that for years. Tweak will he will register for every tournament, and then he'll show up to like 80% of them. And so it just looks like he drops a lot. Cause like, you know, he went to Battle of BC, he's going to Crown, but then he dropped from MomoCon and major Upset, right? Like, yeah, no, he's done that for years.
At least he actually signs up on time.
True.
Oh
Yeah,
my-
no, like DQ is the player with the most wins against Tweak for sure.
DQ's got some great wins. I'll tell
Oh,
you that.
for real. DQ actually #1 player in the world. High key. But no, so like I have Crown next week, and this is the most I've ever prepped for a tournament. Okay. Now it kind of ranges based on if it's a regional, if it's monthly, or if it's a major and the such. So like for Daddy's Den, which was a national a couple of months back, I think 2 months back now. I went through the top seeds the week of before I traveled out, and I went through what part of bracket I was commentating to specifically look over what sets were likely. That way I could know all of their head-to-head histories, every character, where they were ranked, what they were ranked, notable wins, that sort of thing. Just like the basic groundwork, right? And then at tournament day 1, I always do this day 1 and before like day 2 bracket starts. I am hanging out with everybody. I am playing friendlies. I am in the pool, or for like Crown, I'm in the pool watching tourney. I'm in the crowd cheering, you know, because at that point I'm not only getting the bracket info, but I'm also getting the environment. This is something that you'll see like Hazmat or EE and Coney do a lot, where they'll talk about how the environment of the tourney is, like what kind of the feel within the tourney is to help advertise the tourney to the viewers to come out to it, right? And I think that's like one of the things that goes a little bit more under the radar that a lot of up and coming commentators don't realize how important that could be. Because when you're on the mic, you aren't just representing, like, you aren't just analyzing the set play, it's also representing the tournament, right? And that way, you know the feel of the vibe. So if I have, like, it was Ouch versus Spargo, a major upset. Man, the crowd is fiending for this Ouch win. They want their homeboy. PNW, such a tight family. And, like, so now, not only do I have, like, oh, the listener knows how much Ouch wants this. They also understand that the whole PNW scene is like this family that wants that win, right? And you kind of do that for each tourney and each environment of like, oh, maybe at Genesis, it's just like this constant celebration of Smash or whatever. At like, say, Collision or LMBM, maybe it's more of like the awe in the room of like, you could feel the want for this win from a lot of these top players and the such, you know? And then the other thing I do is I always make sure I know who my co-casters are for each block way ahead of time, and I am DMing them, talking to them, and then weekend of the tournament, before we ever commentate, I'm hanging out with them. I specifically make plans to to hang out and have food with them beforehand, okay? Because unlike some games or like sports casting or whatever, where it's kind of like, you know who you're casting with and it's the same person typically, for Smash, you just get luck of the draw. Like, I have a static, or like me and Juice want to be statics. We very rarely commentate with each other, even if we're at the same event. Because it's just, oh, hey, we want Juice on this block. We want Jet on this block. Hey, Kyler, we're going to put you with Jet over there, you know, have fun, Yin. And so like you want to make sure that, you know, going into it, what the vibes are. And so like, when I go and hang out like at first I'm just hanging out, chilling, just getting to know them personally. And then we have the talk of like, all right, are you more of a play-by-play? Are you more of a color? Like what vibe do you do well with? What is your energy level? And it's just kind of this thing where you have to be really honest with yourself about your own weaknesses, and expect you and trust your co-caster to be honest about theirs. That way you guys can figure out, even before you go into it, what the vibe of the block is going to be and where you need to do your job, right? Smash in general is a very loose definition of what you need to be doing when you are casting, where instead of just you have your job, do it. And so like, the more you vibe with your co-caster and the more you two understand where that line is, the better. The other thing, and this is the final thing that I'm like doing to prep, and like I always do this, I study this game like constantly. I am listening to every Tweak Talks. I'm listening to every Lights Out. I am watching all this random content from different creators, whether it be Mars, ESAM, Leo when he does happen to post things, watching Hungrybox streams, Coinbox runs, and then also I'm watching every like literally right now I am watching Momocon. Even though it's doubles, I am watching this just to like see what is going on. And so at all times I am already taking in stuff on a constant basis, but then coming up to an event, I already know most of the people signed up, right? Like, you have all the announced players. And so I specifically look for their sets to watch. And so where I know Tweak, Leo, Spargo, Sonics, Meister are all coming out, if they're playing at Momocon or they're playing at Combo Breaker, I'm going to look specifically for those players' sets and their runs to study what is going on if they're switching characters, and just to get a general sense of like what those specific players' storylines are. That way, in the case of like they're at this tournament, has Leo been kind of struggling, or is he thinking about picking up a new character? What is his thoughts right now? Tweak, when he comes out, are we going to see the Mega Man? Because if you don't know, he's looking at Mega Man right now, right? And so like I specifically look for those players and what they're doing and absorb as much content of them as possible. Now, Gerd, you brought up something really important, because obviously like every single one of us were talking about like, we study the top seeds, right? We study the projected or close to projected. Because sure, maybe Spargo, gets upset a little bit early, like a round or two early by maybe Mutace or Tweak. But then it's still like Tweak Leo Grands or something. So it's still, or Tweak Leo Winners Finals or something. So it's, you still prepped for that. But what if you have like Jojo the Hobo or JDV from PNW just make it? Yeah, like JDV just made a wild run at Battle of BC5, right? And so even though you might study him for earlier rounds, maybe you weren't expecting Armadillo to show up at like versus Shuton in top 8 qualifier.
That's literally what happened at my block at the event I was talking about, where someone made a run. It was the 20th seed. Definitely was nowhere near, or it was not maybe the 20th, but like between like low 20s, like. And just made an absolute crazy run to winners semifinals and got guaranteed 5th. I'm just like, I've never casted you before, and I don't even think you've played against the person you've played against before. So I was literally just going like, I know them. It was like Ike versus Daisy, and in our region, we've seen that a lot before. So that was actually easier for me to cast than to be like, We Fit Trainer versus Paisy. I have no idea how to commentate that.
Are you talking about Geno King?
Yes, I'm talking about Geno King.
Oh, same shit happened to me. I was like, who the fuck is Geno King in my head?
The thing is, I knew who Geno King was.
No,
I just had never
didn't.
commentated them.
That's the thing. But now I do. Geno King's a homie.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, Geno King was like 30th seed. He was very low. He upset Luxa in the Ike Ditto, and then it was like he like benefited from a DQ or like another upset.
And then he beat Unleashed.
To play Unleashed.
And then
I commented Unleashed Geno King, and I'm like, okay. I didn't say it on the mic, but I was like, you basically have to treat it as like, I don't know who Geno King is, but like, let's see what he does in the first stock. Let's see what he's got, and does he have the fundamentals to play on, And just being like, okay, I'm liking, like saying things like, okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Geno King here. He's obviously the one making the upset, saying like stuff like that, because like if you don't know them, they're probably the one making the upset. So making that the narrative is like really important,
So there's two things that could help you prep, but you need to be doing it at bracket. Okay. Oh, I forgot one other preparation thing. Remind me in a second that there was one other thing that I did specifically a major upset if I can't remember it. Anyways, so, and that's just being part of the bracket. Like it is, and I don't mean that like just competing. I mean like you are there to watch and see what's going on at all times. And so like the whole day of an event, I am in the crowd hanging out with homies, watching sets, like Daddy's Den. I was there watching Major, the Ganondorf, beat the trash out of Send. I'm there watching Ty and Kronos go game 5, stuff like this. That way you have a bigger feeling of what it was like for those players when they either got upset, or came really close to getting upset. And that helps you build a storyline as well, even if there's not those upsets, right? So like Kronos, where they went in game 5 with Ty. It's all of a sudden, instead of it just being like, yeah, Kronos has made a normal run. It's, man, Kronos has had to work so hard today, and he is playing on the top of his game to avoid these upsets, right? And it gives more flavor to the storyline, right? The second, and that just in general allows you to, where instead of just going into a set and all of a sudden, oh, hey, it's so-and-so Mr. Yum Yum, who I've never heard of before, somehow beat Light. Like, that's wild. I was expecting it to be Light. Instead, now you're like, yeah, I saw them got upset yesterday. Or like the other thing, I always have the bracket on my phone. Whether or not I am attentively watching or not, or even when I'm doing my commentary blocks, I have the bracket on my phone. That way, off camera, I can go ahead and just make sure, double check, see what's going on. And that way I know if there's anything new. And that also gives you a little bit of filler in between sets as well. Because as anybody will tell you, the hardest part of commentating is making sure you have filler in between sets that still engages the spectator. That's probably the thing I'm most like one of the things I'm most proud of with myself. I feel like I do a really good job of that. But like that's part of, and it helps you build out and flesh out the storyline, right? And so just doing that, and even then, you know, like if I am doing, let's say top 64 side one, if like there's two sides of it or two pools of top 64, I'll also check like who is the one, like who are the couple of people that all they need is one upset, because sometimes casters will just check top 64 like that instead of checking also the qualifiers into it. Because you never know. You might, like, even though you check top 64 and it's like, oh yeah, these are all names, like, there's a couple of names I don't recognize because that's normally what will happen. There will be a couple that could just, you know, oh hey, so-and-so DQ'd, or I got one upset, you know? Oh, the one other prep thing, because I didn't forget about it. I'm goated like that. The one other prep thing I'll do, and I did this specifically, like, a lot at Major Upset, and this is another reason why I have the cards that I have players sign. This is kind of like the icebreaker, right? Like, I'm a very extroverted person, but I'm a little shy, okay? Like, I need something to start the combo. And so at Major Upset, the thing I specifically did is I would go around, like, I have my top 64, I knew everybody who I could possibly commentate, and I would go to each of the top players and like be respectful to them. Like, they are here for a job, obviously, but like, hey, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear your thoughts about your bracket. You don't have to feel pressured to say anything, but you know, where I'm commentating your, like, this top 64 section, I'd just like to know if there's anything you'd be willing to share with me. That way I have some extra tidbits on the mic, you know? And then if you want to go a little bit farther than that, you could ask them. So like, one of the things I specifically asked was like, Big D was playing against Krieg, a Marth player from Utah. And I'm like, hey, you know, you're going up against Krieg. Is there any like specific things that you have in mind for that? And a lot of the top players, given like some of them obviously don't want to divulge everything, but quite a bit of them will help you out and like give you a lot of tidbits. Shout outs to Big D, by the way. Dude was an absolute sweetheart and like had a lot of good info that he gave me for that set. And sure enough, I ended up casting that set. So, but that way you also represent the top players that you're casting a little bit better.
Fascinating.
I kind of got lost in the sauce, I'm gonna be honest.
You got lost in the sauce? Hold on, I got this for you.
I mean, that's why we have this as a recording, and it's a.
Don't worry, I got you. So, yeah, I think that's a super crucial, important part for a lot of casters. Even like practicing that skill set. That's something that I kind of did quite a bit when I was going to majors at like LMBM. I started with LMBM basically. I would just, when I was watching VODs from a lot of top players like Spargo and Leo and like Mr. E, Quid, whatever, I would ask them questions like, oh, what would you think about this character? Or like, what do you think about this matchup? Or like this player? Basically, you know, what you were saying before, like how they felt about their bracket and such like that. Which it did make for quite a really good conversation because, you know, everybody enjoys the game. We all love nerding out about this video game, talking about it.
It is funny because I feel like I end up just eavesdropping on those conversations with other people.
Yeah, and then you're like,
like I just hear somebody
I
else talking about
those.
their bracket, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely using that later. That's funny.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say sorry.
You're good.
I was gonna say it's also a very super important part as like a caster to put yourself in a lot of different shoes and a lot of different perspectives, being like the TOs, the production, the player, the spectator, and you want to use all of that to your benefit as like a caster when you're commentating, because like you said, that's our job essentially. Our job is to make the event look good, set the tone and everything, set the storylines. We're all doing this for this one moment that we have and that we want to sell to the audience pretty much.
I also forgot like two other things that, because there's like so much that I've been doing the past couple of months for this, like talking to the TOs in production to like figure out, like I'm already asking who the sponsors are of Crown next week. That way I can study up on the people that are sponsoring the event so I can do better ad reads. I'm also getting the vibe for like how long breaks are, where they're going to be at. That way I know what I need to play around and plan around for the event. Getting to the commentary area 15 minutes early, just so like you're ready the minute they need you to get on, you know? Like those are the obvious things. But then the other thing is like, as you guys know, I started running the Land King commentary stuff. And so I've been commentating Land King a lot. And every time I commentate, unless it like going in and prepping for a crown, there are specific attributes of my commentary I'm picking out and working on. And then I'm constantly like chatting with other like top or high level commentators like Wolf Scratch or Jet on like, hey, would you mind talking, like going through this block of mine and let's just talk about what I need to do better, stuff like that. And then the next time I cast, I'm specifically doing things like I told you guys about, like using my co-casters' names more often. Like the one specifically that I got from Hazmat was working more on shortening analysis. We won't talk about that today because that's a next week thing with the like analysis. We'll be talking about, or not next week, the week after. We're talking about like
OMG,
misconceptions.
the art of analysis.
Yeah, the misconceptions of analysis, how to do it better, as well as like we'll probably talk about play-by-play too, because I think that goes into a lot of it. But you know, just like I every time I cast, I have specific things that I want to work on and get better. And so like, even though this is like, all right, you're in the job now, it's kind of the same thing that top level players talk about, how like when they go to a tournament, it's not just, oh, I'm going to a tournament to compete. It's, oh, hey, what thing do I need to work on to make the play better?
Basically. Because with locals, that's the setup for all your regionals, all your monthlies, all your majors. They're
I
literally
even
the
treat my
training grounds.
regionals, monthlies, and majors like that. Like if you are not improving, then you are getting worse. You are getting complacent.
Exactly. They're all the training grounds. You're doing all this prep work to develop your skill set for the one chance that you get when you inevitably get that major, or like
Yeah.
to continue having that skill set for all the majors and all the things that you work for.
Exactly, because each major isn't your like last event. You should be using every event that you get as prep work for the next one. And so even when I do Crown, my first super major, I'm like, all right, this is prep work for my next super major that I'll get.
I think that's a great mentality to have, constantly improving, I feel like in life, I feel the same way, where I was just like, I've solved life, I get it now. And then like I got complacent and I'm like, wait, there's still things I need to learn. This is so cringe. I hate this, But I think we are above time just a little teeny bit.
just a little bit.
So we'll be heading to the outro where people shout out their Twitters and stuff. I don't.
We
really
finally
care
talked about
it.
commentary.
I don't
Let's
got
go.
anything. I don't got anything going on anytime.
You just
soon,
had to get
so
me on here
What
to
do you
nerd
guys
out.
want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about?
Gerd,
Do your talking.
I know you got stuff to plug, Gerd.
Yeah, I will be at the Comedy Club Massachusetts SSBU Invitational doing top 16 and top 4 blocks. That's my
Hey.
Where is it being streamed?
the Game Underground Twitch channel, I believe. Don't hold me to that.
Okay.
I have actually no idea. I believe it's Game Underground, but yeah, I've got two
Sonic
blocks
Underground.
paid. Very excited. Meter management in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Not casting that, but I am TOing that. So those are my plugs.
Anyone else?
Yin, got anything to plug? Because I definitely got stuff to
Yeah.
plug.
He's plugged Crown like 3 times.
I have
Oh my
plugged
god,
several
Crown,
times.
June 3rd, holy
Wow.
shit.
Crown 3rd next
Go to
week
Crown.
at Land King. Check it out on Land King's Twitch. I don't know if they're partnered with BTS again this year or not. I know that their side stream will be a quad stream with comms. Shout out to that. Love it. Also, let's see. When does this podcast come out? Does it come out tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Morning?
fingers crossed.
Okay, well, if it comes out Saturday morning, tonight at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, I will be live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/yin_light. It's the same ad as my Twitter. I'll be doing my first ever episode of a D&D Smash kind of crossover podcast.
Well, that's kind of
Yeah, so my homie was like, hey, I want to do a D&D podcast. I'm like, hey, can you throw in like Smash characters and their storylines and stuff into that? And he was like, yes. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's going to be lit. But also check out my fresh cut. I'm gonna be posting. I mentioned. Oh no, I mentioned this before the podcast. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of at tourney interviews with some of the players and commentators. For example, hopefully Arbiter doesn't listen to this podcast before I see him at Crown, because otherwise, spoiler alert to Arbiter. I'm gonna be asking Arbiter which male character would he bone, because it'll be Pride Month. Woo!
Arbiter's gonna have a fire answer for that. I already know.
I think it's one of two characters. I think it's actually a pretty cookie cutter question for him, but I have like other questions that I think will be more interesting that I don't want to spoil. So,
All right. And I'm not going anywhere today, but tomorrow I will be casting my FGC monthly. We're gonna be doing Melty Blood, Guilty Gear Xrd, and Tekken Tag 2, along with our mystery bracket.
Wait, why the fuck
'Cause-
are you doing Xrd over Strive?
Because all the Strive people are bitches and didn't show up.
Oh, I guess it's also Combo Breaker weekend, so...
No, that's just in general. They
Oh, are
said,
you serious?
"Oh,
That's
yeah."
kinda
They wanted it, and then they didn't show up. So
That's kinda
we
whack.
just don't run Strive anymore. Everyone's loyal to Xrd, the quote unquote superior game. And then I will most likely, hopefully, be at Brookland this Sunday. That's gonna go live, I think, around like
there's a
4 or so.
bigger Brookland event, right? High-res or
yes, they just announced it. Applications are out for a high res,
Yeah,
and
I
you can
can't
find
go
them
to
on the 12G account on twitter.com.
I would love to attend and commentate,
Yes.
but I live too far away to warrant going.
Yeah, it is in New York City. Lovely Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a lovely venue. They got the bar, they got the vibes up and everything. Got a whole ass PC area for free play. Lovely people. But enough about that. That is going to be it for the podcast. Thank you everyone for listening and joining in. I hope you guys have a pleasant weekend. We will see you for the next one. Take care.